2018 meeting of the Whitehall City Council to order. Please ask everyone to rise for a moment of silence and remain standing for the pledge. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Cannon.
Here.
Beck. Here. Morrison.
Here.
Bailey.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Elmore. Here. Coniston. President Graham.
Present.
Mr. President, move to excuse the absent member. Second.
A motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez, to excuse the absent member. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cannon.
Yes.
Beck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez. Elmore. Yes.
The absent member has been excused. Our next item of business is the approval of minutes for January 6th, 2018.
President, I move for the approval of the minutes from January 16th, 2018, the agenda and regular meeting, please.
I second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cannon and a second by Ms. Elmore to approve the January 16th, 2018 agenda and regular meeting. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Cannon.
Yes.
Beck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore. Yes.
Minutes have been approved. Next, we have a very special presentation by our city attorney. There it is. Mr. Michael Bivens, honoring the Legal Rams mock trial team.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Thank you, Mayor Maggard, City Auditor Dan Miller, and City Treasurer Stephen Quinzel for allowing me to have this special presentation tonight. Before I begin with the special presentation, just a little historical background. Just as you know, in the door, coming in as city attorney, I established some very key core values of my office. And one of those core values was simply, let's make a difference. And let's make a difference in the city. Let's make a difference in this office. And I've attacked and approached my office in a very different way than any of my predecessors. And I'm certain that all of you will agree with that. And in the door, one of the things that I saw a need to do was to reach back into what I consider to be one of the greatest values of our city, and that's our young people. And with these young people and with the types of young people that Whitehall has, as you know, you've got Dan Miller, who is a part of the Hall of Fame. He's been a Whitehall resident his whole life. Whitehall residents become Whitehall leaders. And so as we look at these young people that I'm about to introduce to you, they will be at some point either the city treasurer or the president of council, and prayerfully one of your next city attorneys from this group. And so I wanted to start off by saying that just in my introduction. But before I begin to introduce the kids, I want to introduce and just give a special commendation to Paul Smathers, who just on a phone call, when I told him about the idea of doing mock court, said yes. He could have said no. He could have said, oh, I don't understand it. He could have said, well, give me some information, give me some charts and graphs. No, I just said, Paul, I'm thinking about doing a mock court program. I think I've got a passion for doing this. Will you allow me to come in and at least talk to your kids? And he said, absolutely. So I thank you, Paul, for just hearing just the clarion call. And then he recruited Coach Lightfoot, who I don't know if he was recruited or if he volunteered, but I tell you, without him having been me assisting him in this class, none of this would have been possible. And then my wife, who's a representative of the school board, is here tonight, and so I would like to recognize her as well, just because she's in the room. Let me tell and she's mighty pretty, and one of all of the best things of my life. So I just wanted to just make that very clear. This year, not to take anything away from any of the previous mock court groups that you've seen. We started off with just a sample group, and then it transformed into actually competing in the Ohio Mock Court competition. And then it morphed into doing it for their final examination. And I believe some of you guys, you have to know that you will have a final examination where you will be doing another trial here before this honorable body in this place. And so, but this year, something really special happened. And Coach Lightfoot, I'm sure you would agree, when we started off, we didn't know how special it was going to be. But I'll tell you, every last one of these kids, they put in the work, they analyzed the case, they did what they needed to do, and I am 1,000% certain that they had the right stuff to move on in this competition, but for having been robbed for whatever reason whatsoever. And so let me kind of give you some background of what they've done. They had a case, it was the State of Buckeye versus Adam Smith. And the State of Buckeye versus Adam Smith was a case that was relevant to the unauthorized, what is it, guys? Absolutely. Inefficient assistance of counsel. And in that case, Adam Smith was wrongfully convicted if you follow one side, or he was rightfully convicted if you follow the other. And we had two teams that competed. One was the defense, the other one was the prosecution. And when we started off the class, one of the things that I do when we're training for this, every kid has to stand up and speak. And that means get from their seat. When we're talking, you actually stand up, project, you look someone in the eye, and you speak your argument. And I'll tell you, one of the finest things that I believe that is just tried and true for life is the art of public speaking. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, public speaking is going to be something that will follow you for the rest of your life. And if you don't practice it and then practice it perfectly, then you will always find yourself lacking. I don't care, millennials or not. We know that kids communicate in a different way and everybody's texting and looking down, but you cannot disregard the art of public speaking. And regardless of if any of these kids decide to become a lawyer, they will always remember what it was like to stand up and speak in front of a very strange group of people and speak their argument and speak their mind. And if nothing at all, I'll tell you, I can speak to the fact that if it was not for a mock court program, I would not be your city attorney right now, because it is the spark that caused me to go to law school. It's the spark that caused me to graduate from law school. It's the spark for everything that I've done from that point on, and it started right here in a program just like this. So I know the power of it. And so what we did is we went to Newark. And we went to Newark, and I was stalling for you. Thank you. We went to Newark, and we presented our case. And we started off the day doing the prosecution side. No, was it the prosecution or the defense? Prosecution side. And then in the afternoon, we did the defense side. And as a result of that, there were awards given on that day, and counsels gave their arguments. And tonight, after leaving without having advanced, the thing that I loved mostly is when we got the results, our kids were noticeably moved by the fact that they were not selected to move on. And here's why. They knew they robbed. They knew they did something very, very, very special. And they felt it, and they felt it in their bones, and they knew that, wait a second, we deserve to move on, if for nothing else but the fact that we were better than every last one of those teams that were there. And I'm telling you, I might be a little biased, I admit it, they were better than every team that was there in Newark that day. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Yeah, they were. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give up, and here's what I did. When I left, it bothered me, and it shook me, and I've done aggravated murder trials. I've argued trials before the United States District Court of the Southern District of Ohio. I've gotten guilty verdicts. I've gotten not guilty verdicts. And this caused me to lose sleep. It did. When I went home, I was thinking, oh my goodness, these kids did everything. They poured their hearts out. They fought the good fight. And this thing shook me to my core, and I was thinking, well, what can I do? What is it that I can do? And then it just hit me, wait a second, I'm the city attorney for Whitehall. I have a certain level of power. I can honor them in my office and bring them here and do a special presentation and put it all on display and let them know how awesome they are. Okay? So that, without any further ado, was that a good introduction? All right. So I have special awards for each kid, each young person. And the first one is going to Michaela Brown as meritorious bailiff. And before she comes up, let me tell you, when you're the bailiff, you have to be the first voice that everyone hears. You're the one that says, you're the one that says, all right. And she introduces the judges, she introduces the court, she ends up swearing in all of the witnesses. And then after that, she ends up closing the court. And so for that, Michaela, please accept this award on behalf of the City Attorney's Office. The next, and let me tell you, I've done this a few times, and I've never seen a person do this before. We were in trial, and Ryan, and I'll talk about Ryan next, but I don't know if she did it on purpose or I don't know if she did it as strategy, but it was so beautiful because it gave us more time. We were running out of time and Ryan was just sizzling. He was just killing this witness. It was amazing. And this person stopped the court right in the middle of argument to dispute the time, stating that there was a discrepancy in time. You all were there. That there was a discrepancy in time and that her time was right and the other one was wrong. And what ended up happening is the judge gave us more time that I'm not sure we even deserved. But we got it because of Marissa White. Best And speaking of this person, let me tell you, I've done cross-examinations, and cross-examinations can be some of the most difficult things because a cross-examination, you have to already know the answer to it. You can never ask a cross-exam question that you don't know the answer. You're speaking to a witness in a way that you let that witness know that I already know what you're going to say. And if you do it well and you do it right, you'll end up having the witness agreeing to things that they didn't even do because you've just filleted them. And I'll tell you, this young man got up, stood in front of this witness, and I've seen seasoned attorneys not do it this well, and it was just amazing. He ended up having this guy saying yes to, he would have had this guy say yes that he was the President of the United States. By the end of it, it was just fantastic. It was beautiful, and for that, I give Ryan Redifer Best Cross-Examination. All right. Now I'm going to bring these two up together because they're just special to my heart, and it's just so great that they're sitting beside each other. These two young ladies did closing arguments for both sides, one for the prosecution, one for the defense. And here's why I am awarding them both best closing arguments. They went off script, stood there, spoke up, and added things as a result of what happened in the trial that would have made you proud, Mom, would have made everyone proud, board member, made my office proud, and they got up there and handled their business giving best closing arguments. And so for that, I give Estefi Tersos best closing argument, prosecution. Did I pronounce that right?
No.
Help me, please.
It's Tercios.
Okay, Estefi Tercios, best closing argument for prosecution, and Tina Lane, best closing argument, defense. And I do not see her here, but I have to give this publicly, even though she's not here. And you all will totally agree. There was one individual, and I wish she was here. Her head would be down. She wouldn't even be looking me in the eyes right now. But when we started off, she could barely, literally, her voice was, "Hi, I am this," and you could barely hear, and everybody would be like, "Could you speak up?" She'd speak up, you'd be like, "We still can't hear you." Wouldn't look you in the eyes, would not say anything, and I was thinking, oh my God, are we even going to get her to the finish line? And I'll tell you what, when she got up and was the expert witness on the prosecution side, knew every answer, spoke up, was articulate, made eye contact, was everything you would have hoped and dreamed of a witness. And it's not easy being a witness in these mock court cases because the witnesses have to read a script and they have to actually become that witness. And so for that, and I'm sure team you'll agree, that most improved belongs to Rachel Neal. And I have to speak this too, and she's not here, but this person should have received best counsel in the trial that she was in, but she's going to get, from my office, best direct examination, because let me tell you what she did. She goes into the court and she wants to do an overhead projector. Now, introducing exhibits in the art of trial advocacy is difficult, but especially when you're 16, it's even worse. But she decided that she wanted to use an exhibit and put it up on an overhead projector, and she didn't know how to do it. So she takes the initiative, speaks to the actual bailiff who gets a paycheck every day, asks that bailiff, how do I do an overhead projector so that I can put my exhibit on? This bailiff teaches her right in 3-minute tutorial, and she had enough mental strength while she was in trial to not only introduce the exhibit properly, but to put it on an overhead projector so that she could use it, and then got fancy with charts and graphs, directing her witness right on the spot. It was amazing. The judges were like, that was amazing. Don't know why she did not get best attorney in that trial, but from my office, she's going to get best direct examination. Goes to Paula Wilson. And there are 3 others. I knew they were not coming. And Abby Barth will get best expert witness. My son, Michael Bivens, who received a best witness award in the trial, will receive best prosecution witness. And if you want to see the videotape, you'll see why it was just ridiculous. And Sir Blake Singleton will get best defense witness. And these were well deserved. So this is also for you, Coach. And Coach, if you would like to say anything to council, I would love that. And Joy, if you would like to speak to council just for a moment, we've got about 3 minutes or so left.
I'll go.
You know, it's got you on the clock, right?
I know, I have time.
I do want to say this, I want to echo Mike as far as Mr. Smathers making this happen. This class has been phenomenal. Teaching government, we talk about PBL approach to the classroom. This is a classic PBL, project-based learning, where you have a situation the kids have to tackle, and our kids have done a great job. From the first year we've done this to this year, it's amazing how far they've come. It wouldn't happen without Mike. Mike is fabulous in the sense that I know nothing about law. And when he comes in the classroom, it's contagious. He gets you fired up about the law. And the kids feed off of that. And I just want to thank Mike for all his efforts, and Mr. Smathers again for making it possible. And it goes to the kids. The kids make this truly a joy. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I have some issues because I'm going to a basketball game, so I have to go be a mom. But I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Mr. Smathers for allowing this to take place. Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot, for taking the initiative and making sure that Michael stays on task. And thank you, Michael. Before I get to the kids, I want to say thank you to you, because I think this is your passion, working with young people. Because if you, I mean, you just sit up here and went through every kid, you could probably tell us how many chromosomes they have in their body. So, but thank you to all of the young people that participate in this. Public speaking is hard. It's really hard, and these are skills that you're going to have for the rest of your life. No matter where you go, as he said, you're always going to this when I was your age. I wish I could do this now. I hate public speaking. But this was a phenomenal, it teaches you comprehensive skills. You all represented Whitehall so well, and I know when my husband didn't sleep, he didn't sleep because he felt like you all should have won. And I had to go back through, he said, look at these scores, they got cheated. I knew that you were right because he's an honorable man. So thank you all for just participating, for your eagerness. We're looking forward to some of you, like Michael said, filling some of these seats up here as well. So thank you.
So with that, Mr. President, members of council, community, I rest my case, and thank you, everyone that's come out. I'm so proud of you guys. I look forward to working with you for our next go-round, and I look forward to some of the witnesses flipping and being attorneys. I thank you to my office. You guys are just fantastic. We'll have to get Julie to fix her face at some point during the process, but she was indispensable in keeping me on task. So thank you all, and Paul, once again, just thank you.
Well, on behalf of City Council, the members of council, I want to congratulate you and your department for coming up with this idea in the first place 3 years ago or so when you first did it here. It sounds like, even though they may not have finished first where they were, they're all first here in Whitehall. So I just want to say thanks to you, your department, and everybody out there who participated putting this together. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Judge.
What if they don't want to? Y'all are under no obligation to stay, but if you would like to see how a council meeting runs, you're more than welcome to do that. Well, next time maybe. Well, that's a lot of reading tonight.
Hey, Julie.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on with our agenda, and we have up next poll public. It's if anyone would like to take an opportunity to speak to members of council and the administration, we'll have up to 3 minutes to do so. Everybody's going to be tight-lipped tonight? All right, then we'll move.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
Joy Bivens, 4095 Doral Avenue, Whitehall, Ohio. So we are through the city attorney's office, and I apologize because we don't have the flyer made yet. We are still looking for residents in Whitehall to assist us with establishing the youth justice circles. And what these circles are they are circles where young people, minors, who commit nonviolent crimes versus processing them through the Franklin County juvenile system, they participate in these circles, and adults listen to their case with their families, and we come up with a strategy, which is like an independent opportunity plan for them to some corrective action. Sometimes you have them write a paper, sometimes you give them community service, those types of things, and based on their compliancy, then we will send a recommendation to the judge to dismiss their case. We have unfortunately, one of our youth detainee rate is really high in Whitehall, and we need to get that down. So we believe that this is a strategy working with the Franklin County Juvenile Court. The date of the informational is going to be on February 22nd. February 22nd, right here in council chambers, right? Right in here. So if you know someone who is, first of all, confidential, because you're dealing with kids' lives, and we don't want them sharing at the grocery store, but they hear about someone's kid, passionate about youth, We are looking for really good people to help us establishing our own Whitehall Justice Circle. This will be the 7th one in Franklin County, and as you remember, Judge Field did the presentation last time we were here. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come forward at this time? All right, so we're going to give everybody one more crack at this towards the end of the meeting. If you're feeling a little shy, you have some opportunity to get your confidence up. All right, so we'll move on to our standing committee reports. We'll begin with Administration and Financial Management. Chairperson Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Administration and Financial Management did meet 2 weeks ago on Tuesday. Our minutes are on file, and we will meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30, right here in the back.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have Community and Elder Advocacy. Chairperson Elmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. We met, and the minutes will be on file, but I would like to say that I've talked with, had a meeting with Shannon, proposed some different ideas to her, very receptive. She does such a great job, and so we'll be working together on that process.
All right. Next, we have Community Standards and Enforcement. That's Chairperson Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Community Standards and Enforcement met 2 weeks ago. Our minutes are on file. We'll meet again next Tuesday sometime after 6:30.
All right, thank you. Economic Development, Chairperson Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. Economic Development met 2 weeks ago, minutes are on file. We'll meet next Tuesday sometime after 6:30 in the back.
All right, thank you, sir. Infrastructure Maintenance and Services, Chairperson Heck.
Thank you, Mr. President. Infrastructure Maintenance and Service met 2 weeks ago. On Tuesday, the notes are on file. We'll meet again next Tuesday, and then back after 6:30.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Public Safety. That's Chairperson Coniston. However, she's unable to attend the meeting this evening. That committee also met last 2 weeks ago. And their minutes are on file, and they shall also meet next Thursday sometime after 6:30, along with all the other committees. Next, we have Parks and Recreation, Mr. Canner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Parks and Rec also met 2 weeks ago. Minutes are on file, and we'll meet again next week in the back.
All right, those are all your standing committee reports for this evening. Next, we have our officials' reports. We'll begin with our Mayor, Kim Maggard.
Good evening. Before I get started on my somewhat bland report, I do want to say thank you to Attorney Bivens for bringing the mock court to Whitehall Yearling High School and giving the kids, just a little bit something different to do and to think about for their future. I love the fact that you got involved, that you saw a need, and that you have kids who are now so interested, and hopefully that they may become public servants. I mean, working for a municipal government or county or state, and that's so important. And so I just want to say thank you to that, and I wish I could have been there to see the kids. Now, are they going to be doing something like they've done in the past couple of years where they do something here? Yes, oh, I can't wait to see that. Okay, I want to be a part of that. Thank you. Awesome. Also, I would like to have favorable consideration of Ordinance 1-2008, and just wanted to also give a report. The YMCA is working on a RFQ for the Community Park Y, so we're very excited about that. And we will be having a board appointed by different by myself, by council, and different, people who will serve on that board to make sure that we get the best proposal that we can get in there. Hopefully, that will happen in the next month or so. Also, I'm working on updating the city's solicitation ordinance. We've had a lot of, concern. We have a lot of elderly people who live in Whitehall, and many times our solicitors, peddlers, whatever, do not pay attention, don't even know that they're supposed to go get a permit from the police department, and we need to make sure that there are proper rules in order that some people can be protected, and that when there's a no trespassing sign or no solicitation sign, that those rules will be followed. Also, Our solicitation permit is so old, it's only $3. And after doing some research on other cities, it goes anywhere from $15 for approximately 90 days up to $50, and the cost of a background check. So one of the things we don't mandate is a background check, and we definitely need to do that. So you'll be, Council, you'll be seeing some draft legislation come through to you probably by the end of the month. And maybe we can, make sure that our citizens are safer, but at the same time, that we're also want to make sure that those people who make a living, a good living by what they do, and the ones that do it in a safe way and a quality way, will make sure that whatever they present, their rights will be protected as well. So that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Next, we have our city attorney, Mr. Michael Bivens.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. Once again, I thank everybody for being here this evening. I would like to report for the month of January, we prosecuted 213 cases in our Whitehall Mayor's Court. Out of those 213 cases, only 27 of them were of a criminal nature committed by Whitehall residents. That's a 12% out of the total amount. I also would like to give an update, and I'm asking for your insight and your help on this. After having gone to the opiate addiction seminar in Memphis, I came back with a potential strategy for how to approach our upcoming mayor's drug court. What we've done is we've pulled all of the cases in the past 5 years and started tracking repeat offenders. And as a result of that, we're also looking at the repeat offenders and what types of charges that they've been charged with, and you can literally see the descent of the charge that goes from either a public intoxication all the way to a petty theft. And I'm guaranteeing that as a result of that, if we were to do some discovery, we might find that some of these individuals might have opiate addiction. The reason why I'm bringing this to the public and to this council is because some of these people might be people you know. And to the extent that we can approach these people on a voluntary basis, we might be able to actually get some people that voluntarily commit themselves to our mayor's drug court so that they can get the help they need. So I bring that to the public, and I bring that to this honorable body just for that type of consideration going forward. We have some meetings coming up as we're trying to put the building blocks together for that, but I just submit that to council as well as to the public to assist my office in maybe identifying some of these individuals that need some help. Lastly, I would ask for favorable resolution on, or favorable consideration on Resolution 10, 2018.
All right, thank you, sir. Next, we have our city auditor, Mr. Dan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no official report tonight, although I would like to ask for favorable consideration on ordinances 12, 16, and 17, and resolutions 7, 8, and 9. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have our treasurer, Mr. Steve Quinzel.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of council. I have no official report for tonight.
All righty, thank you, sir. While the following officials' reports have been filed in the council office since the last meeting, we have the Division of Fire Overtime Report for December 2017, and that's the only item we've received. Our communications, petitions, and claims, we do have the 3 items listed on the agenda this evening. One of them is a notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a new D1 liquor permit for the Kroger Company, DBA Kroger Store, 814 3648 East Broad Street, Whitehall, Ohio, 43213. We also have the agenda for the February 1, 2018 meeting of the Planning Commission, as well as the minutes from the January 4, 2018 meeting of the Planning Commission. Those are all the communications, petitions, and claims we have received. We will now have Ms. Frymark call the roll on whether each member of council was given a copy of each item of legislation listed on the agenda prior to the meeting, and including any types of add-on legislation.
Tanner?
Yes.
Heck? Yes. Morrison?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Elmore?
Yes.
All righty, that's a good thing. So we will now move to our third readings for the evening. We have ordinance 122, 2017, Up first, it's to amend the city income tax code to adopt sections 718.80 through 718.95 of the Ohio Revised Code and declaring an emergency. That ordinance has been tabled until our February 20th meeting. Next, we have Ordinance 1, 2018. It's an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute necessary conveyance documents to acquire property from H. Eugene Fletcher located at 51 through 91 South Hamilton Road, Whitehall, Ohio.
Mr. President, wish to introduce and move for the adoption of ordinance 001-2018.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Morrison, a second by Mr. Bailey for introduction and adoption of ordinance 1, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Ordinance 1, 2018 has been adopted. It's the last item we have under third readings, Under second readings, we begin with ordinance 2, 2018. It's amending section 184.3 of the codified ordinances titled Definitions and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. It's the only item we have under second reading. Under first reading, we have ordinance 6, 2018. It's unappropriating $600 from the Safe Parks Grant Expense Account and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next, we have ordinance 7, 2018, unappropriating $2,947,648.67 from the Community Event Center and declaring an emergency. That item is being read by title only. Our next ordinance is 8, 2018. It's unappropriating $250 from the Hamilton Road Streetscape account and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next is ordinance 9, 2018, unappropriating $386,864.12 from the Etna Road Improvement account and declaring an emergency. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next up is ordinance 10, 2018. It's approving and making a fund transfer in the amount of $445,720 from various accounts in the Wimpity Fund to the Debt Service Fund. That ordinance is being read by title only also. Next, we have ordinance 11, 2018. It's transferring $450,745.10 from the bond retirement account to the debt service account. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next up, we have ordinance 12, 2018, advancing $250,000 from previously unappropriated monies in the general fund to the TANF program grant fund and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce ordinance 12, 2018, move for suspension of rules.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Ms. Elmore for introduction and suspension of all rules on ordinance 12, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner. Heck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 12, 2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Ms. Elmore for adoption of ordinance 12, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck. Yes. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Ordinance 12, 2018 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 13, 2018. It's authorizing the repeal of Chapter 1333 of the modification of Chapter 1127. That ordinance is being read by title only. Next is ordinance 14, 2018. It's amending 505.21, humane confinement and treatment of dogs of the codified ordinances of the city of Whitehall. That ordinance is being read by title only, as well as ordinance 15, 2018, which is authorizing the creation of the depot Grant Fund appropriating $100,000 from unappropriated monies in the Depot Grant Fund to the Depot Grant Expense Account and declaring an emergency. As I said, that's being read by title only. And next up, we have Ordinance 16, 2018, authorizing the creation of the 2017 Bulletproof Vest Account, advancing $6,828.34 from unappropriated monies in the Law Enforcement Trust Fund to the Bulletproof Vest Grant Fund, making a transfer of $10,271.66 from unappropriated monies in the Law Enforcement Trust Fund to the Bulletproof Vest Grant Fund, making an appropriation of $17,100 from the Bulletproof Vest Grant Fund to the 2017 Bulletproof Vest account and declaring an emergency.
What's this for? What's that? Can you do that again?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce ordinance 16-2018 and move to the suspension.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cantor and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and suspension of ordinance of the rules on ordinance 16, 2018. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President, is it really necessary to pass this on the first reading?
Would you like to read it?
We always have in the past. Yes.
It would, I really appreciate if you would pass it on the first reading. Although, you know, it's hard to read those, it's even harder to write them, so
Oh, no.
I would like you to.
It's far harder to read it.
So it won't go.
You can make all the corrections you want when you're writing it. You cannot make correct. Once it's out of your mouth, that's it. It's called the shell game, for somebody that wanted to know what this is. Now, actually what it is you get a grant, you get the grant money, you have to put it in a fund, then you have to put it in another fund in order to spend the money. So you have to move the money around 2 or 3 times before it gets to the proper place. That's why you have all the different appropriations, and then you put the money here, and then you take it out and you put it over here. Then they get to buy the bulletproof vests.
So if I'm correct in hearing this, what we won't get to do is hear you read this
That's
in
right.
a second reading.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other questions or comments on ordinance 16, 2018? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck, Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 16, 2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 16, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck, Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
Ordinance 16, 2018 has been adopted. Boy, those sixes sure can look like an 8. Next we have ordinance 17, 2018. It's approving and making a supplemental appropriation of $119,500 from unappropriated monies in the Law Enforcement Trust Fund to the Law Enforcement Set-Aside Forfeiture Account and declaring an emergency.
Oh, I thought that was Larry was doing that. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce 17-2018. Move for the suspension of the rules, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and adoption of all rules on ordinance 17, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner, Heck, Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on ordinance 17, 2018. Don't you want to,
Thank you,
Judge
Mr.
Judy?
President. Move for adoption, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of ordinance 17, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck, Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
All right, ordinance 17, 2018 has been adopted. Our next ordinance is 18, 2018. It's on appropriating $12.49 from the Park Ranger Grant Expense Account and declaring an emergency. That's being read by title only. Next, that's the last ordinance we have for the evening. Under resolutions, we have the first resolution, which is 6/2018. It's levy. We're going to put some special assessments on some property maintenance at several locations in the city of Whitehall, Ohio, and certifying such costs to the Franklin County Auditor to be assessed against such property and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to introduce resolution number 6/2018 and move for the suspension of all rules.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Heck and a second by Mr. Cantor for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 6/2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on Resolution 6/2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption of resolution 6/2018.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Heck and a second by Mr. Cantor for adoption of Resolution 6/2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck. Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Resolution 6/2018 has been adopted. Our next resolution is 7/2018. It's authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept a 2018 Clean Ohio Trails Fund grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce resolution 7/2018 and move forward the suspension of the rules, please.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cantor and a second by Ms. Heck for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 7/2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Second, or yes?
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on Resolution 7/2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Oh, second, sorry.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Cantor, a second by Ms. Heck for adoption of Resolution 7/2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
All right, Resolution 7/2018 has been adopted. Next is Resolution 8/2018. It's authorizing the mayor to apply for and accept a 2018 Recreation Trail Program grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce resolution 8/2018, move for the suspension of the rules.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Cantor, a second by Ms. Elmore for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 8/2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Rules have been suspended on Resolution 8/2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cantor, second by Ms. Elmore for adoption of Resolution 8/2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Resolution 8/2018 has been adopted. Our next resolution is 9/2018. It's resolving to approve then and now certificates and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Resolution 9, 2018, move for suspension of all rules.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Bailey, a second by Mr. Rodriguez for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 9/2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
Resolution 9, the rules have been suspended on Resolution 9/2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bailey, second by Mr. Rodriguez for adoption of Resolution 9/2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner.
Yes.
Heck.
Yes.
Morrison.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore.
Yes.
All right, Resolution 9/2018 has been adopted. For those of you who may not picked up the resolutions and ordinances up here. We do have one that is not on the agenda this evening. It is Resolution 10, 2018. It's authorizing the city attorney and the law firm of Eastman and Smith Limited to file an action to abate a public nuisance and declaring an emergency.
Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Resolution 10, 2018, move for suspension of all rules.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for introduction and suspension of all rules on Resolution 10, 2018. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck, Morrison,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
The rules have been suspended on Resolution 10, 2018.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Morrison for adoption of Resolution 10, 2018. Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Tanner,
Yes.
Heck, Morrison, Bailey,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Elmore,
Yes.
Resolution 10, 2018 has been adopted. So our last item of legislation this evening, it's time for our second opportunity for poll public. If anyone would like to come forward, please do so at this time. All righty, we'll move on to Community Date Board.
Tomorrow evening at 5:30, we'll have the big Walnut Trail Alignment Open House right here. And then on the 15th at 6 o'clock at the New Life Church on One Yearling Road, Chief Crispin is having his third Safer Whitehall Town Hall.
Who else has something for Community Date Board? You missed one date, the 14th. Yeah. That's only important to the guys.
Oh.
Because if they don't do something on the 14th, they could be in big trouble. So this is your second warning. All right? Take care of your business. Yes, a Hallmark holiday, it is. Who else has something for Community Date?
Art's just not into it.
I would like to have a comment regarding Community Date Board. On April the 5th, from 2 to 6:30, there will be a trade fair day. We haven't got all the particulars ironed out yet. However, just mark your calendars in advance. It'll be the first. It's all in relations to job and career readiness for high school students, and just another opportunity for them to immerse themselves into just a very good area for them to earn a good, decent living.
Okay.
Mark your calendars.
Who else has something for Community Date Board? Well, then we'll move on to Poll Council, and we will begin with Mr. Cantor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Just a couple words. Michael, I want to thank you very much for the mock court you do. It's really good. I hope that I'm going to be bring it in so we can do that. I had a great time. And it seems to me like our numbers are going down. You said January was 213.
Yes,
That's pretty low.
it's low.
That's very low.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Well, it's cold. Yeah, that's
I want to get out when it's cold.
Domestics aren't up.
And it's easy to track somebody when there's snow on.
sure is. Mm-hmm.
All right, Ms. Heck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too want to thank you, Michael. I work with the kids in Whitehall as well, and I really do appreciate it. I know it makes a difference to them. I'm sure you've been told that, but they are the future. They are leaders of tomorrow, so I really appreciate the work that you do. And that's all I have, and thank you, everybody else, for coming as well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Mike, good job on recognizing the kids. See y'all next week.
Or the week after.
Or the week after. If you want, come back here.
Mr. Bailey, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see all of you tonight. Thanks for staying. Mike, what I appreciate in everything you do is your passion. Like your wife said, it's infectious. And keep doing what you're doing. You're making a big difference. And I think we're seeing it in some of the stats that are coming out of the police department and even your court.
Thank you.
So that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good to see everyone this evening. More kudos again to you, Mike, and to the students. Great job. And Wes, good luck in your operation tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that you can call anyone up here, and if there's anything you need, if you need a beer, let me know. But otherwise,
You better not have a beer on that medication.
anyway, that's all I have, Mr. President.
All right, Ms. Elmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. Right. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everybody for coming. I'd also like to thank you, City City Attorney Michael Bivens, and also the legal Rams. You are so great with the kids, and I think involvement is everything. Whitehall's banner is "Opportunity is Here." It's an opportunity for everybody to get involved, no matter how old you are. I think when you start younger and get involved and younger, you become more acclimated to what's happening in Whitehall and a part of the things that are happening in Whitehall. And I want to thank the mayor and the team for all the good things that are happening as far as economic development, the economic growth, and I think we, citizens of Whitehall, need to be more involved. Residents involved in supporting economic growth. When you support what's going on, you become a part of what's going on, and you are really able to understand more of what's happening in that area. And also, one of the other things I wanted to add to the job and career readiness for high school students, it's like an alternative to college. Not all kids want to go to college, are prepared to go to college, or just think that I want to highlight my gifts and talents that I have. I think it's incumbent upon you to discover what those things are, to be involved. And the trade fair is for that very reason, to get involved in the trades that you believe best suit who you are. Your gifts need to make room for you. And so if you're gifted in that area, make room by becoming a part of this. And also the building trades, the IBEW, Building Futures is a part of this in conjunction with the Franklin County Job and Family Services. So everybody working together, teamwork makes the dream work. I say that all the time. But if you are working together, we can accomplish everything we need to accomplish in Whitehall, and we are doing a great job. And I just want to thank everybody for that. I want to thank you for being back, Mayor, and also Wes, for you. Prayers going up to you. Things will be fine. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. So you just make sure that your spirit is lifted and is high, and you're not fearing anything when you go through your ordeal, okay? Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, well, normally I'm the last one that gets to thank somebody, but because I was president, I got to thank him before any of you did, so y'all didn't take my thunder tonight. I do want to thank everyone for being here this evening. It's great to see everybody coming out on such a cold evening. We hope to see, not hope, we are going to see you back here in 2 weeks at our next meeting on the 20th. And we have no further business. I would therefore entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey, a second by Mr. Rodriguez for adjournment. Questions or comments? Ms. Frymark, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, we are adjourned. Thanks for being here, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks. How are you? How are you?